All right.
So-
It is Saturday night. I have no date, a 2-liter of root beer, and my All Rush mixtape. Let's do this. Hey, music fans, welcome to Soundlab Studios. Today we are going to be reviewing Moving Pictures by Rush. We have talked a lot about Rush lately, but this is our first time doing an album review from them. This is their 1981 album. It's their, oh boy, what album is there? We got Rush.
Their 8th studio album.
8, okay, their 8th album, released in 1981. Do you guys have any general thoughts on this album before we get into the review? Because I know I've got a lot I want to say about it.
Me too. Well, I'll tell you my background on the album. First time I ever heard it was my brother-in-law. He's like, "Oh, play some Rush," and I'm like, "What's Rush?" Well, I knew Tom Sawyer because of a Family Guy, because of a scene.
It ain't easy being cheesy.
Yeah, that's a great can't believe guy. That's the first time I ever heard that song was because of a Family Guy cutaway. I heard it on the radio after that though, but first my brother-in-law was like, "Oh, play some Rush." Kept hearing moving pictures on the internet is one of the greatest albums of all time. I'm like, screw it, let's listen to this, one of the greatest albums of all time. And first time I heard it, I'm like, okay, very overrated. The crime of the century. Tom Sawyer is okay. This Red Barchetta song bores me. It's too long. YYZ's a mess. Limelight is another song that got overplayed. Camera Eye's decent. Witch Hunt I hated. Vital Signs I couldn't stand either. But after repeated listens, because I know Garrett really liked this album, my review on this album will be a lot different from my review by myself. Well, I didn't do a review, but it's a lot different than what I thought of it when I first listened to it.
Yeah, and then for me, I think like a lot of people, this was generally their first album introduction to Rush, because it has some of their big hits on here, and of course Tom Sawyer was the first Rush song I heard, because when people talk about progressive rock and stuff like that, they always bring up Rush. Like Rush is always one of the bands that people bring up, because Rush fans are very fanatic.
Almost constantly on the group chat we talk.
I only know 2 of them.
Yes. Constantly me and Garrett talk one-on-one with Rush in the group chat.
Yeah.
Sometimes
all I see is Rush talk.
Exactly.
I feel bad for Jason too. I'm like, oh man, I
have no opinions on this.
Sometimes I have to throw in a Beatles thing so that
right.
I can throw Jason into a conversation or maybe the Who or something, because I feel bad when I mention Rush and he's just like, I can't say anything. I know how I feel sometimes. Like if I was in a room full of like, I don't know, Adele fans, I would kind of be like in Jason's spot. I'd be like,
right.
I just like silent.
Yeah. So as I was saying, so Rush is kind of an interesting band. There were bands when I first heard them, I liked them. I didn't quite love them. they're kind of a band that kind of grows on you the more you hear them, because Geddy Lee has a very unique voice, but the music side of things, like that's something that was really captivating. Like their musicianship with just three guys was always such a huge part of them. And yeah, over the years, just re-listening to their music, like my respect for them has definitely have grown over the years. Of course, I have every album on CD, so to have a good look at their whole catalog, just seeing how they evolved, starting from the beginning up to where they when they onto their final album. And of course, this album is still regarded as one of Rush's best albums. So it's kind of nice to kind of go back into it. It's kind of an album like I on my channel I rank the albums, and I really try not to have this be at number one because it's kind of the popular choice, but at the end of the day, it definitely deserves the praise it gets. So it's kind of nice to talk about it more in depth.
I have always liked this album. Now, I haven't liked it as much as I do now, always, though. Whenever I first heard it, it was just like, oh, yeah, this is a pretty good album. I listen to it every once in a while. But then getting into some of Rush's other stuff and listening to this based off of like their other stuff made me really appreciate it even more. Especially like 2112. Man, I love that album too. But that made me appreciate this album even more. I remember somebody I worked with at a Chick-fil-A was like,
"Oh, you've never heard of Rush? You gotta listen to Rush. Neil Peart, like one of the best drummers ever."
and so I had to listen to this album and I was like, you know what? Pretty good. The more times I listened to it, and after listening to the rest of Rush's discography, it made me appreciate just how amazing this album is.
That was kind of like me when I listened to Signals for the first time. And then like listening to their other 80s albums like Grace Under Pressure and Power Windows and Hold Your Fire made me appreciate the 80s twist on Signals more. So I get what you're talking about with moving pictures.
Yeah.
I'd say Permanent Waves, Moving Pictures, and Signals are like three great transitional albums from
that's like the early 80s trilogy, and then you get the late 80s trilogy of Grace Under Pressure, Power Windows, and Hold Your Fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess to say for me, like growing up, I feel like there wasn't a lot of Rush songs on the radio, but there was Tom Sawyer, I want to say Limelight, Spirit of the Radio, I think, were like the three maybe that we got good radio play. So I kind of knew those songs growing up. Maybe there's more.
Sorry. You know what's weird is that I never heard Spirit of the Radio before Garrett told me to listen to Permanent Waves for the first time.
Really?
Where I live, they don't play that song on the radio.
Okay.
Man, if I had a radio station, I would play that song as the first song in the morning every day. Begin the day with your friendly voice, companion unobtrusive. Or I would have like a segment, 5 o'clock rush hour. We're going to play with some Rush. Right. Start with that song every day.
It's weird though, is like when I first heard that song, I'm like, why is this not played on the radio? Like this is actually a really good song. And then
it was.
I hear Bryer and Jason saying like, "Oh, this song does get played on the radio." I'm like, really? Yeah. Doesn't get played where I live?
I will say, where I live, even though those three songs get played, but for me, they play very rarely.
Yeah, I would say Tom Sawyer is the biggest hit that I can think of.
I think so.
Like Bryer said, I think it's probably the first Rush song I probably heard as a kid, and was kind of like, what is this? This is kind of odd, it's interesting and great, Geddy's voice is just so unique, and for sure, I think that's probably all I came out with was what a unique vocal performance. Whatever, I probably didn't pay attention to the drumming and everything as much as I do now, but so I didn't really know that much about Rush. In fact, I don't know if I knew who they were. I just knew like some of the songs, and I don't think it was until I saw the movie "I Love You, Man" with Paul Rudd and Jake
Slap at the bass.
Slap at the bass. Yeah, when they started talking about, they go to a Rush concert and they talk about Rush a lot, and I'm like, huh. So there's like big fans of Rush. Like I had no idea because my parents didn't listen to Rush, my sisters didn't, none of my friends listened to Rush. Like it was just a non-thing for me growing up. So I was just like, huh, Rush is a big band. Like I had no idea like there was big fans of this band Rush. I didn't know who they were really. or what they look like until I saw that movie, and then I was like, oh, they're Canadian. Like I didn't know that. It's a trio, whatever, and I'm like, okay. So I learned something from that, and about 2 years ago, I started my channel, and one of the things I want to do was do this 100 favorite albums list. And so I felt like I needed to do some homework. So I just started cramming in as much albums as I could. Like I just crammed in tons of albums to try to educate myself on, because I didn't really listen to albums. I just listened to songs on iTunes. So I didn't know albums very well. And so I was like, I need to listen to more albums and really, anyways. And Moving Pictures was the one I listened to from Rush. That I feel like, from what I researched, Rush, that was the big Rush album was Moving Pictures. Anyway, so that was the one I listened to maybe 2 years ago, and it barely missed out on my, like I did have it like on my short list. Like I had to cut it from my top 100 favorite albums, so it like barely missed out. But it was like one of my last cuts, so I did like the album, and then now of course listening to it again for this thing. So
I guess it's time for background information. Background information.
I'm like, what's going on?
Rush started out in 1974 with their debut album. It was kind of a Led Zeppelin knockoff sound. They did not have their drummer yet. If you can believe it, they only have 3 guys in the band, if you can believe that. And their original drummer was an alcoholic. They basically told him, hey, for your health, we need you to stop. We got to get a new drummer. They got a new guy, Neil Peart, who was I think he was a mechanic. And he was very well-read, very smart guy, and brought more intellectualness to the band. They started doing longer songs that were more conceptual, had to do with like mythology and philosophy and things like that. They're from Canada too. And so they make all these albums. I'm not going to go through each one of them because that would take too long, but they got more increasingly complex as they went on, up until they made Hemispheres, which is an album that only has 4 songs on it. And they thought, this is too much. Like we want to make art, but we don't want to make art that's going to drain us. So we need to focus on making shorter songs, but ones that still are very like artistic and make a statement. We don't want to make like songs just for the sake of making songs. We still want to make art. We just want to take the storytelling and the art of the stuff we're doing and just shorten it a bit. And maybe we can branch off into the radio and they'll play us, and we'll also be able to like reach a broader range of people with our music. So that's what they decided to do on Permanent Waves. And they're continuing it with this album here, Moving Pictures. Each of the songs, they wanted each to be like a little story in itself. So that's why on the front, the album cover is a pun in itself. You can see there are people moving pictures.
Yeah.
And then off to the side, there are people looking at the pictures and they're crying because they are moved by the moving pictures. And then on the back, the whole thing is filmed. It's a moving picture, so it's a triple meaning.
I love that. I used to think it was a pretty good album cover, but after knowing like all the meanings behind it and just seeing it and just thinking about it, it has to be probably one of, if not the greatest album cover of all time, if you really think about
And
it.
There's lots of little hints in there too to other things. There's the dogs playing poker in one of the pictures. And then there's the 2112 album cover if you look really closely in there. So that is the background information of Moving Pictures.
Background information.
Get a Neil Peart drum roll in there.
Neil Peart.
Track 1, Tom Sawyer.
Right away, just drop the needle onto the record and just. Monday warrior, mean stride, tame Tom Sawyer, mean pride. Such a great song to open up the record. I mean, even though it's played to death and it's one of the few classic rock songs. Well, technically this is like a mix between prog and classic rock, but either way, even though it gets played to death, this is like one of the few songs where radio didn't completely kill it. Like I could still have the mood to listen to it. I'm not like, oh, if I never listen to the song again, I'll be happy. Like if I never hear this song ever again, I'll be happy. It's not one of those songs, but the radio did kill it a teensy bit.
I'm opposite. I ain't ever gonna get tired of hearing this song, even though I had heard it before. Especially when I listen to this album, like I've got an automatic record player, so I'll just push the button and I'll sit there and I'll just wait. Cause I'm like, when's it gonna do it? When's it gonna do it? When's it gonna do it? Yeah. And that synth note comes in. A modern day warrior, mean stride. Today's Tom Sawyer, mean pride. Ba 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 ba. It's like this song still sounds like it could be from the future, and it's 40 years old.
Yeah.
A song that still sounds like it's from the future and it's 40 years old. You have done something right. And a lot of that has to do with Geddy Lee's Mini Moog synthesizer on here. He uses it just enough. Like a lot of people sometimes will be like,
well, you're gonna play in the synth. Like that's a sellout move right there. Like if you use the synthesizer, you're replacing it.
Well, they use it just enough on. What's crazy is that Geddy Lee had to play the synth and the bass live whenever he did this. So whenever at times whenever he had to play the bass and the synth at the same time, he had these pedals that he would use his feet to play the synth part. So if you watch the Tom Sawyer music video, you'll see him playing the bass and then he's doing something with his feet. That's him trying to play the synth lines underneath. And then sometimes he'll stop playing the bass and step over to the synth and actually use his hands because he doesn't need to use the bass. Like the he can stop playing the bass for that. But then once he goes, then he needs to right. And then he needs to hold it down with his foot to like to hold the note, the note. And then like the professor keeps that drum going, and then you get the famous exit the warrior. Today's Tom Sawyer. He gets high on you, and the energy you trade, he gets right on through the friction of the day.
Yeah, and then for me, I mean, we already pretty much talked about the bulk of the song. Again, musically, it's just a great, perfect way to open the album. Just the synth line, just perfect way to open the album up. Again, the drumming, the keyboards, the guitars, all really, really well put together. And just a couple like little tidbits I found because again, I did some little bit of research on a lot of the songs here. Apparently, this took a day and a half to record. So just because they're pretty perfectionists, so they really took the time. That being said, apparently the guitar solo, Alex was just winging it most of the time. He was just playing around. There were various takes of the solo, but eventually they landed on one. But it's just him just kind of just like playing around, see what worked, and eventually they just found one that worked. But yeah, it was again great song. The lyrics are also really good. Again, Neil wrote pretty much all the lyrics. Of course, on this song in particular, he was actually a co-write. He wrote this with another person from another band. The band was called Max Webster, and I never heard of Max Webster, but I heard they're kind of a cult band. But yeah, this is just a great song about just having Tom Sawyer represent like being a rebel, just being a free spirit in the world, just not letting society dictate what you have to do, which of course Neil was very much always liked to dabble in that sort of philosophy stuff. But yeah, just altogether, just a great opening song.
Oh, and the band, believe it or not, the band actually hated the song while they were recording it.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't until it was mixed, they played it back and they thought, well, this is a lot better than it sounded when we recorded. We got to make that the first song on the album.
Yeah, it's definitely a reason why this is the probably biggest song, or at least most radio played probably song. It's definitely one of their greats. I mean, like you said, that intro really just kicks it right in the gear right away. It just hits you with that intro. Right away, I'm just like, whoa, like it just like a gunshot. Love it. And I was gonna say about that, I love that synth. At first, the synth does that, da 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 da. And then like the bass or guitar doubles it. And I love that because first it's a synth and then the guitar or whatever comes in and it goes along with it. It's like, oh, it's so great. Geddy Lee, man, he just hits notes that I don't think I've heard anybody else ever hit. When he gets into those High on you, whatever it's like
Oh,
he's
you got to hear Cygnus X1 if you really want to hear what he's capable of.
right,
he can
yeah.
shriek.
So like that's his like really rock sounding voice, and it's just so unique on this song for sure. It's a great one.
Red Barchetta.
Bruschetta. I mean, this song is epic. I mean, what 1-2 punch, like, you know, I can't imagine being a Rush fan in 1980 being like, oh my god, Spirit of Radio followed up by Free Will. How's this band gonna top that? And then like, this is how Tom Sawyer followed up by Red Barchetta. I mean, I feel like I'm in an action movie whenever I play this while I'm driving. Like, feels like I'm in a Top Gun scene, or feels like I'm in a movie when I listen to this song.
If only I had a nickel for every time Rush talked about the future where something was banned. I'd have 2 nickels, which is it's not a lot, but it's weird it happened twice.
I get the reference.
Yep.
Love it. I love it.
Anyway,
so 2112 in Red Barchetta.
This is about the future where motor cars are banned, and the guy goes to his uncle's farm where he is like, I've been saving something for you, and he shows him the car. And he takes the car out for a ride, but you just got to look out for the air cars who are going to catch him. But the air cars are too wide to go across the bridge. Even though, if the air cars are the standard, why is that bridge still in use? Is my question. But it's a song.
Yeah, it's like video game logic and show logic.
Rush logic.
Don't pay attention. Don't ever pay attention to that.
Don't
logic.
question the professor's logic.
Exactly.
But man, I love this song. I love the story. I love the music. I love how it starts out very quiet and gets louder. I like the boom, 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 boom. It's dangerous for me to listen to this song while I'm driving because I always have to crank my car's speed up as soon as it gets to that part. It's like, man, I want to drive the Red Barchetta.
Yeah, me too.
And then,
well, for me, when Genny Lee's like, tires spinning gravel, I commit my weekly crime.
And then Alex
that's my favorite line of the song, actually. I commit my weekly crime. Just the way he sings that, it's just so, oh man, I love it.
Funny enough, my copy of Moving Pictures used to have 2 skips on it. And I finally played it enough where the needle corrected itself or cleaned it. I don't know how, but the skips fixed themselves. But one used to be in Tom Sawyer, where it goes, and it was supposed to be catch the mystery, catch the spit, but it would just skip the word spit, so it sounded like it was censoring Geddy Lee saying something worse. He was just like, catch the mystery, catch the boom, 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 boom. I'm like, it sounds like a radio edit.
Right.
And then in Red Barchetta, it would go, I slip away the hides a shiny car. It would skip Old Debris, but it finally fixed itself.
Well, it's funny you guys talk about lyrics. I don't pay attention to lyrics at all when I'm listening to any of these songs, really. I'm just paying attention to the guitar, drums, and bass, basically. And I mean, I'm listening to Geddy Lee's vocals as well, but I don't concentrate on them, so I had no idea. You guys could tell me things I'm just learning for the first time. Like,
yeah, no, the professor's lyrics are really good on this album.
Okay, I gotta say, if you're not a lyric person, then Rush might not be your thing, because that's one of the best things about Rush is the professor's lyrics.
It's not one of the big ones on the album, like Tom Sawyer or Limelight, but yeah, it's a really solid rock song. It's a good second song to Tom Sawyer, I think. And it's just, like I said, it's just the guitar playing, the drumming, it's all just so good and fun to listen to. And I would say, I mean, what is it, like 6-7 minute song? It's a little bit longer than a normal like radio song, but yeah, it's right there. It could be a radio. I've never heard on the radio, but to me, this could be a song that I could hear on the radio. I think it's good enough.
Yeah, totally. I can totally see it. But yeah, again, 4 for 4 here. Yep, it's a terrific song. Again, the musicianship is just really excellence. Like, we already went in depth on the guitar work, the drumming, the bass work. And yeah, we already mentioned like how this is like this is like a song you can just play while driving a car. Same here, and I don't have a driver's license, so that tells you. But yeah, it's great.
Onion.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, it's a great follow-up song to the first one.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Track 3, YYZ, or if you're from Canada, YYZ.
This is
Yeah.
where we live. This is where we live. YYZ.
Yeah. Well, obviously, this is an instrumental, just rock, just amazing rock songs or sounds. I don't know what to say. Yeah, I'm not big on instrumentals, but this one did it right. Like, if you're gonna do instrumental, like this is the way to do it. Is this song?
Good. I have hope that you'll like La Via Strangiato now.
Yes, me too. Even though I prefer YYZ.
Well,
Yes.
I mean, like I was listening to it, and like like the bass is. It sounds like the bass is just really going fast in it. Just do, and I'm like, wow, he's really killing on bass. And then they'll like, I don't know, they do this thing where like they're playing, and I feel like the bass and guitar will kind of stop. So then you get the like, and I'm like, oh my god, the drums. Like, to me, the MVP is the drums. All of it's good, but it's another one of those albums. I say this sometimes. There's always somebody that kind of stands out, and the drums really stand out for me.
I remember you saying that with
yes,
I forgot the name of him, but it was
Small
like
Faces.
Kenny Jones.
Yeah,
Kenny Jones. Thank you.
yeah, right. And I say that about the Who when I listen to the Who. Sometimes like the drums just always stand out to me. Maybe Led Zeppelin sometimes, not always, because the guitar is so good as well. But yeah, this is one of those cases where I just love those drum fills when it feels like everybody kind of stops just for those drum fills that Neil Peart does, and then
when
they go back whatever, and I'm like, holy cow, like really good musicianship on this one.
When they do it live, they'll stop and they'll let him do an extended drum solo.
Really?
Yeah.
It'd be so fun to watch.
Like I feel like that song's the best live because of the drum solo.
But yeah, I was actually pretty shocked, honestly, because I'm gonna be real, Jason. Like I had predictions. I thought there was gonna be 3 songs you weren't gonna care for, and I thought this was one of them. But yeah, it's like Jason already said, like great musicianship on here, drumming, of course, what some of their best, and again the bass playing again by Geddy here, and guitar solo, even the guitar solo. Like when people talk about the song, it's usually just the bass and drums, but even Alex's guitar work is definitely worth mentioning as well. Like his guitar work here really holds it together. Usually when it comes to this song, I always hear people say, if you can play the song, you've mastered your instrument. So a great instrumental, nominated for a Grammy, but lost to the Police, unfortunately.
I don't get that.
I probably hate that. It actually makes me hate that instrumental now.
The crime of the century.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's not even a good Police song.
Yeah, it's a horrible one.
Yeah.
So my turn to talk about it. I mean, kill me if you want to, guys. I think the guitar playing is the best on the song. This is an epic instrumental. It's definitely their best instrumental. I know La Via Strangiato is usually the first pick of their best instrumental. Don't blame anyone for saying that. Even you, Garrett, I don't blame you for saying that.
I like both of them. It's really close though. Man, I love this instrumental. I'm gonna be a little brief, but everything is just perfect on this song. The drums, the bass, the guitar, it's amazing. And I love. Oh man, I can't believe I didn't talk about that. The beat at the beginning. It spells YYZ in Morse code. Did you know that?
Using air quotes.
Of course.
Like I said, if that song doesn't get played in YYZ, I don't want to go to YYZ.
All right.
Like if I don't walk off the airport and I'm like walking in Toronto and I don't hear the dun 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 dun, I'm not interested.
Okay, Limelight.
I'll let Bryer, you or Jason go first. I want to go last.
All right. Okay, so yeah, this is probably definitely one of my favorites on this album. Just it's lyrically, I mean, it's very autobiographical because for Neil, this was him just grappling fame because Neil was always a very shy person, didn't like being in the spotlight very much. He just wanted to stay behind the drums, and that was it. Like you hear lots of stories about him, how he doesn't want to interact with fans, not to be mean, but it's just that he just feels awkward around them. So this is just, again, like I said, it's just him kind of grappling with his newfound being hailed as this rock legend, and now so yeah, just a great guitar riff by Alex to start it off. And yeah, it's definitely, again, one of the more commercial sounding songs. This was like another single they released, and this is definitely one of the songs you'll hear on the radio. And Alex has said that this probably has one of his favorite guitar solos he's ever done, and you can actually find many videos of him actually breaking down the solo and explaining like how he played it. Is very fascinating. Again, the bass and drums again holding together, just a really well crafted, very well put together rock song. So it's very good.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with Bryer. Love the song. Love that guitar riff, that dun, 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 whatever that begins that song. It's such a good guitar riff. Like I said, good guitar solo as well. Yeah, maybe the best on the album. The thing that I think Geddy Lee's best vocals on the whole album. He's not hitting those high rock notes like he does in Tom Sawyer, but I really like it overall, his singing voice on here. And the thing that I love so much about the song, I'll say, is they do this interesting thing when he's singing the verse and he's getting to the end of the verse. The drums do this thing where it goes, he's like da 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 bum bum, and then he ends the verse, and it's like, wow, I love how they sync that up to where I was like, and I almost like, I don't know how he does that. That's kind of a genius. He plays, and then all of a sudden, bum 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 bum, and then he ends that verse, and I'm like, oh man, like I love that because everything kind of stops while he finishes up the verse, and then it goes back.
That is the power of progressive rock, because that is one measure of an odd time signature that throws in 2 extra beats that puts you into the next measure. That is your introduction to progressive rock. Even though the song is played on the radio, it's got this sneaky little measure of 2 extra beats that throws the listener off, but at the same time does it in a way that is very accessible and is pleasing to the ears. So yeah, throws a sneaky little time signature change in there. So I think that's really cool.
I love it how they arrange that just in that way, and then the guitar riff comes in right after that. It's I just love that. It's just really well done. I think really makes the song for me.
And just nothing really more that needs to be said about this, other than it's just an amazing song, and I really just love how the guitar and the bass and the solo at the man.
Even though it's not my favorite on the album, it's amazing. You guys hit the nail on the head already about it. Yeah, that's all I gotta say.
The camera eye.
I love this song. This was like the only song that I liked when I first heard the album. I'm like, man, this is so epic. The guitar playing, the way it slowly starts, and I love the part where it was like, "Bumpa New Yorkers, Manhattan," because my parents are New Yorkers, so whenever I hear New York references, especially since I go to Manhattan to go see Ranger games, I always imagine myself watching a Ranger game whenever he mentions New York.
Okay, longest song on the album. The first time I heard this song, I didn't like it because of the length, but I wasn't as used to Rush then. Whenever I got used to Rush, I listened to this song more. Man, is it good. The song is kind of a 2-part song, comparing and contrasting the way people act in 2 big cities, London and New York. And the New Yorkers are kind of in a hurry to get where they're going. They got like their hands in their pockets, just kind of. And the people of London kind of seem to more are more easygoing. They're like, "Good morning, Gov. How's your day going?" And so the people in London are more friendly, and it's foggy outside. So kind of comparing and contrasting the different kinds of people who live in those cities. But my favorite part of this song is Alex's guitar solo. Man, it takes like 6 minutes or something to get to that, but it's worth the wait. And my second favorite part of the song is every time that it's the end of the verses where they just like hold that chord. It's like, "The focus is sharp in the city. oh, and then whenever they end the song on that, then the synthesizer holds out. It's like, and then you can hear in the background like the Big Ben chiming, boom, 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 which kind of A represents London, but B lets you know the witching hour is close at hand for the next song.
It's a 10-minute song about, like I said, long song. I know when I first heard it, obviously I was like, this song is so long. Now I've been listening to songs that are like 20 minutes long from Genesis.
So for sure,
10 minutes doesn't seem that long anymore. At first I was like, man, this is so long. But now I've been listening to these other albums that have 18, 22 minutes. It's like, I don't know how long you can go on these songs. But anyways, I would say like there's 6 minutes of a really good song in this 10-minute song, in my opinion. Like now I listen to it, I just skip ahead 4 minutes and then I'm like, oh, this is really good. So I wish they would have cut out those 4 minutes personally, but that's just me.
I will say when Rush does 20-minute songs, it's almost like they do 6 4-minute songs put into one.
Oh my gosh.
Instead of like Genesis that just does the one song for 20 minutes. Rush's songs are more like 6 songs that are 4-minute song each, but are technically one.
Yeah, because this is only 7 songs long. It's not very many songs, comparatively to a lot of bands that are like 12 to 14, whatever. Yeah, Genesis is like, again, 5 or 6 songs. That's about all you need. I think I listened to a Yes album that only had 3 songs on it or something. Anyway.
Close to the edge.
Close to the edge, yeah.
Corner.
So this isn't quite like that.
Then there's Thick as a Brick, which is just one song.
The whole album is one song.
It's just one song.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's a good song, but it's one song.
I'm not that big on that song actually.
Well, then you don't know how it feels to be thick as a brick. Do 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 bing do 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 do. And I really don't mind if you sit this one out. That's all I have to say.
Right. Okay. I'll make mine quick because everyone has talked a great deal of great length about it, like the song. But yeah, this is their final. Funny enough, this is actually their final song that exceeds over 10 minutes. Everything after that, they kind of keep it underneath, which is kind of interesting. So we're in side 2. So obviously side 2 is kind of where, like, side 1's definitely has the more commercial friendly songs. Side 2 is where their prog roots are really starting to kick in, but still have a little bit of accessibility to them. And yes, this is very much a song that definitely grows the more you hear it. At least, especially for me, of course. Like, again, first heard it, like everyone has mentioned, definitely was like, takes a bit to get going, but again, once it starts, then it really starts to get pretty good. But yeah, it's still a very solid song. But yeah, if I were to rank all the songs, it would kind of be more somewhere near the bottom. But again, doesn't mean it's a bad song. It's just comparatively, there's some songs that I would gravitate towards more. But still, very good, so, especially since it's their last like epic. But yeah,
there was the time at Thanksgiving where my dad heard I was listening to Rush, so he put Rush on shuffle, thinking he'd get a lot of songs like Tom Sawyer and Limelight, and it started playing this. And he pushed skip, and I'm like, Dad, I really like that song. He's like, son, you can like whatever you like, but I don't like that.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's probably what my dad's gonna think of it, or just in general with Rush. To be fair, he liked YYZ and Red Barchetta, so I don't know, might not be like that.
Oh, Nick, would you like to introduce the Fear trilogy, because this is.
I always like talking about the Fear trilogy. Well, technically it's 4, but let's be real with each other.
It's called the Fear trilogy, but there's 4 songs.
Let's be real. It's only 3 songs. The 4th one's good. I know you really like the 4th one. I know you really like.
Snuck up on me there.
I know you really like the 4th one, Garrett, but I just like listening to
it. I like it, but it kind of works better as a trilogy, and the 4th is like the epilogue or whatever.
Yeah, well, speaking of the Fear trilogy, this is the third one. This is part 3. You're like thinking, what the heck? What do you mean part 3? Well, there's 3 parts. It goes backwards, and part 3 is on this album. Part 2 is on Signals with the Weapon, and the first part is on Grace Under Pressure, which is The Enemy Within. On the live version, the Grace Under Pressure tour, they have it in the order: Enemy Within, The Weapon, and Witch Hunt. This is my second favorite of the 3. I mean, it's kind of easy to rank 3 songs, but yeah, this one, I used to hate this song, but more and more I listen to it, and the biggest saving grace with the song, though, in my opinion, is Alex Lifeson.
Yeah, his guitar is really great.
Is the big MVP, in my opinion. I know some people might be like, how about the synth? How about the bass? How about this? How about that? Nah, Lifeson. Normally, Eddie's my favorite member, but Alex really puts life into this song.
Yeah. So yeah, this was a pretty good, another one that kind of had to grow on me a little bit. But it's got definitely grown in stature over the years, of course. And it's kind of an interesting song because you hear faint voices in the beginning. Again, the song's about dealing with mob culture, basically, and witch hunting, that whole thing.
Salem witch trials.
Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah. So the voices, a little funny tidbit, because when they were recording those, and apparently they were all drunk doing that. So that's interesting. But what's kind of, and like we already established, like, again, the guitar riff by Alex here, just very heavy. The song has a very, very haunting atmosphere, given the subject matter. It's very appropriate. So keyboards just add a very great texture to it. And one little tidbit here, one little fact about this song was actually recorded the same day of John Lennon's death. So yeah, so it definitely kind of added to the whole atmosphere recording it.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. I'm a big Rush fan, and I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You know what's even crazier is that was also the same day John Lennon finished up the Woman song too. So it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think that Woman by John Lennon was also finished by the time this song was finished. So it puts us perspective on things. Oh man, I can never listen to the song again without thinking about that. Thanks a lot.
Haunting.
You're welcome.
That is haunting. Oh man, that's nuts. It's crazy.
Man, I was just gonna go a little bit in about the lyrics of this song. In the 1980s, there was a game called Dungeons and Dragons. You might have heard of that game. And parents saw that game, and they had no idea what it was. They just saw that lots of kids were playing it, and based off of faint clues that they got, they thought that it was a game from the devil. And so they branded it as a devil game. And they didn't get what it was really about. And because of that, people would be like, all you had to do is just say, oh, that's a game of the devil, and then everyone all of a sudden be like, oh, get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it. And that's kind of what this song is like. It's in the Salem witch trials. You don't like somebody, all you got to do is say, they're a witch. They're a witch. Like, they're a witch. Look, I saw them with their magic. They're a witch. And then people would kill them based off of just the accusation.
Thank goodness Bryer doesn't live in back then, because Jason might have called him a witch for saying he didn't like Helplessly Hoping.
I don't know.
But even
witch behavior.
Even nowadays, like, people can just call somebody a name on the internet, and then all of a sudden cancel them. They said that they believe this.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
And a lot of that is generally just comes from somebody just hates somebody, or somebody just doesn't understand somebody, and they just are like want to be hateful just to be hateful. And that's kind of what this song is talking about.
That's crazy how relevant this song is this day. Yeah, the lyric. I just thinking about it just makes the song even better, because of how I have. Even though the song was sort of its time at the time, it's both behind its time, of its time, and ahead of its time at the same time.
You might be thinking, what does this have to do with fear? All I've heard is a bunch of name calling and I don't understand type of thing. Well, it's the last line. Ignorance and prejudice and fear go hand in hand. So why are the people doing this? It's because they're afraid of the unknown, fear of the unknown. That's all I have to say.
That's yeah. I still think The Weapon is my favorite of the Theo trilogy because of the whole like Cold War and all that. But the theme of this.
Oh, did you know that in Korea they wouldn't let them put The Weapon on the Signals album because of that?
Oh, really? So
Yeah,
it's just
because
7
they
songs?
yeah, and they wouldn't let the Solar Federation logo go on 2112 because North Korea, the red star, is the symbol of North Korea.
Oh,
Because Rush was
wow.
kind of hinting around at communism when they made that.
That's crazy. I I'm gonna eventually get a Signals copy, but I need to get a Korean copy just to be like, yeah, this is my Korean copy.
There's no
I'm not
Weapon.
gonna be like Polygram who owns like 14 Beatle albums. I'm not gonna do that with Signals, where I'm like, this is my 15th copy of Signals. This is my Irish 1998 copy. No, I'm not gonna do like that, but I need to have that copy because just as a collector, be like, just to show how things were in Korea at the time. I don't know. I'm just ranting at this point.
Yeah, I guess I don't have a lot to say about the song, so I didn't care for it really. It didn't.
That was the song I was predicting.
It did nothing for me. I don't know. Especially after you come out of those first 5 songs, I thought it was so good, and then you get to this one, it just seems like a real downturn for me. Where I'm like, oh,
wait, Jason, you liked the Camera Eye?
I kind of liked it. I mean,
yes, there is hope that you will like 2112.
It's not bad. It's not a bad song by any means. It has a lot of good stuff in it.
I think you might like Natural Science better. It's a little bit shorter, and it's still a long song, but it's a bit shorter and has more changes in it. You might like Natural Science.
Yeah.
That's my favorite Permanent Waves, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I just didn't really get anything out of this song compared to the other stuff.
That's all right. I think they're trying to make more of an artistic statement with this song rather than make a catchy song.
Right. There's nothing memorable for me personally, but yeah.
It sounds like something that would be on Signals.
Yeah, this song and the next song really show where they're heading on the next album.
The best direction they could have possibly went, in my opinion.
All right. Anything else?
I'll let you three talk about Vital Signs after we're done with this.
Do we have anything else about Witch Hunt before we move on?
No.
Okay, well then we're on the last song, track 7, Vital Signs.
Okay,
But you guys talk about it.
So this is the final song, and apparently it was actually the last song written for the album. It was like kind of a last minute addition. They needed another song, so yeah, they kind of went for this one. And I think this is a very, very solid song to go out with. Again, kind of going to that reggae sort of sound that they were kind of influenced.
Yeah, I did do
by
a
the
reggae.
Police.
Yeah.
So of course they were kind of taking that influence in, and I think they do a very good job on this one. Just a very interesting rhythm to it. Again, a very interesting vocal by Geddy here as well. So again, the guitar just really going to that reggae sound, and Alex does a really good job on it. And the chorus is very catchy. And again, lyrics are just very nice, very good. Again, talking about individuality and the pressures of conforming. Just very, very relatable stuff. So yeah, I thought this was a very good album, good song to close out the album.
Jason, what do you think about Vital Signs?
It was another forgetful song for me. Like I don't remember about it until Bryer said that reggae thing. Oh yeah, I remember there was.
Listen to it again. Please listen to it again.
This is Nick's equivalent to Helplessly
Nick,
Hoping.
you are now experiencing what I experienced when you said you didn't like Vital Signs the first time.
Forgettable? No.
Yeah, I don't remember the song.
I'm like Jason when Bryer said he didn't like
I literally just said that.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah. Sorry.
An ounce of perception, a pound of obscure.
Yeah, when Bryer said that reggae stuff, I was like, oh yeah, I kind of remember that. Besides that, I'm like, I don't remember the song. Like it just kind of went out the ear and went out the other, or in one ear, out the other. And
this song sounds so cool through big speakers.
And yeah, I probably have to listen to it more, I guess, because I just don't remember
Please
it.
listen to it
Listen to
more.
it more.
The lyrics, I love an ounce of perception, a pound of obscure. I love in mental and environmental change. Pause, rewind, repeat, one memory chip. Like there's so many little lines in here that I think are just amazing. That
I
is
think I love this song. It's anything but forgettable. I love this song. Oh man, I love this song. Every time I listen to it, just crank it all the way up. It's just, oh man, it's just a cool song for them. It's so different sounding from them. All the lyrics, like the lyrics that the professor made for this, it's just, oh man, I love this song. Oh man, I love the way he's like, by internal incoherence. Everybody gotta elevate from the norm.
Yeah, I like that part too. Everybody got mixed feelings about the function and the form. Everybody got to deviate from the norm. I love that part.
Just a perfect song. I mean, all 7 of these are perfect, but this one's just like, it's just, this should, if there's a song that should have been on Signals, this song should have been on Signals. Like have Moving Pictures be a 6-song album, like what's it called, like
Permanent. No, I like it on Moving. I like it on Moving Pictures.
And then or for Korea, like have that on.
You have the weapon on Moving Pictures, and
like have that start off on side 2, and then have like New World Man after it. I'm gonna make a playlist of that. See how that works. But yeah, this is amazing. Perfect. Anything but forgettable. The complete opposite of forgettable.
Okay. Since there's only 7 songs on this album, Nick said we should probably just rank the songs. So we'll have everybody rank the songs on the album, and then we'll go around afterward and do our score out of 10.
The score, okay.
I'll be the last one to rank.
I don't think anybody is going to give any dishonorable mentions on this album.
Well,
maybe.
Me, no, but you know, you better not put vital signs at 7, Jason. Obviously, if you do, I'm not gonna be mad.
Yeah. I'll go first.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just go through 7 through to 1. So at number 7, I have The Camera Eye. Number 6, I have Witch Hunt. Number 5 is YYZ or Z. Number 4, Tom Sawyer. Number 3, Vital Signs. Number 2, Red Barchetta. And number 1, Limelight.
Cool. I am going to go number 7, Witch Hunt. Number 6, The Camera Eye. Number 5, and I can't believe I'm putting it this low because I love this song, but I just love all the songs on this album, Red Barchetta. Number 6, I am going to go with. Oh, good.
I think you did 6.
Oh, sorry, 5. Number 5.
Yeah, ready for 5.
We have left. Oh, I love all these. That's 2. That's 1.
Camera Eye.
Oh, great. 5 has got to be YYZ. I can't believe I'm putting that low. 4 is wait. Okay, hold on a second, man. I'm getting confused. I'm gonna have to.
I know you said Witch Hunt 7. Number 6, Camera Eye. 5, you said Red Barchetta. 4, YYZ. I'm assuming.
Yes, I got. Oh, so I have 3 left. Okay.
Vital
3
Signs.
Vital Signs. 2 Tom Sawyer, and 1 is Limelight.
Okay.
All right. Number 7 is The Witch Hunt.
Thank God.
Number 6 is Vital Signs.
Oh.
Number 5 is The Camera Eye. Number 4, YYZ or whatever. YYZ. 3, Red Barchetta. 2, Tom Sawyer, and I'm green so far with everybody. Number 1, Limelight.
All right.
I'm the only one who
3
doesn't
for
think
3.
Limelight's the best song on the album.
Oh.
I thought everyone
Okay.
was gonna say Tom Sawyer was the best song on the album.
Me too. Yeah.
No, I like Limelight better.
Yeah.
The guitar riff is better.
Yeah.
Just to keep everyone in mind, all these songs are 10 out of 10 songs. I think every song on this album's worth listening to. Having that said, number 7, Tom Sawyer.
No. No.
At least I didn't say like, oh, Tom Sawyer's unmemorable. Anything. Every song of this album I feel is memorable. Number 6, I just switched it up too because of the meaning behind Witch Hunt, which is number 6. Number 5, me and the Bryer agree. YYZ is number 5.
All right.
Number 4, I hate to put this that low, but Red Barchetta at number 4. Number 3, Limelight. I know I didn't agree with everyone. Number 2, The Camera Eye. Everyone puts it low on the list. I think it's one of the better songs on the album. This is like one of the few songs this was like the only song I actually liked on the album when I first listened to it. And number 1 is the best song on the album, Vital Signs. The most memorable song on the album. Obviously, I'm joking with the most. Obviously, Tom Sawyer is the most memorable because it gets played on the radio. But that's the best song on the album. Yeah, Vital Signs.
Cool. Okay, now we are going to give it a scale of 1 to 10. Let's do it.
Right. Yep, starting with me again. So I'm gonna give this a 9.5 out of 10. I think the general consensus is true. If you're gonna get into Rush, this is definitely probably the best one to start with. It's just the great blend of their proggy side and also their more radio friendly side. So you kind of get best of both worlds. So yeah, 9.5 for me.
I want to go last.
All right. For me, I'm giving it an 8.5. Still
Not bad,
strong
not bad.
album. Still a strong album, but I would say, yeah, quite up there with some of the best for me, but still a good album.
10 out of 10 for me.
Okay, we are about to experience something that has never happened in the 1 year on YouTube that I have had this channel, but it's time to break that. Moving Pictures for me gets a 10 out of 10. Finally, we have a 10 out of 10 album here.
Oh, wow.
I haven't ever given anything a 10
You
out of
never
10.
given
No, but I'm going to
You
give it.
guys are probably you're probably the most strict with the scoring, and
Okay.
I'm probably the most easygoing with the scoring, in my opinion.
I save my 10s for just the albums I think are the best. And there are a
Right.
few albums that I've done reviews on before you guys are on the channel that I might give a 10 out of 10 now. But I'll have to save that for if we ever decide to review them. But yeah, there's nothing here on this album that I think is bad. This is a perfect album. Every time I put this on, like, it's great to listen to. I love the production on this album from Terry Brown. We haven't talked about that yet. He was their longtime producer, produced all their albums from Fly By Night through Signals. Does a fantastic job. Robert Ludwig, the GOAT of mastering, mastered this disc at Master Disc. But yeah, this record, one of the best sounding records I've ever heard too. So got to give this a 10 out of 10 because this is one of my favorite albums. Probably my top 5 favorite albums of all time now, the more I've listened to it.
I don't blame you one bit. It's great that I let Moving Pictures grow on me a lot, and you let Signals grow on you a lot too. It's always nice to see that.
Well, any final words before we say goodbye to our fellow Rush fans out there?
Vital Signs is the best song on the album.
Gosh, we're never going to get into that one.
All right. Anything else?
We're just
No.
living in the limelight.
All right, well, thank you guys for watching. We will see you next time. And remember, art is expression, not as market campaigns. See you around.